Jesus, hello. Hello, my name is Alexei. I'm from Ukraine and actually I live in Brazil. But before I came to Brazil, when the war started, the big invasion in 2022, I was actually in Ukraine. But then the miracle happened, and although I was not allowed to leave the country, somehow I found myself in Moldova. Then I found myself in France, and then we had a flight to New York, and after that we lived in South Carolina for 9 months. I had my middle daughter born in South Carolina, Spartanburg, and after that we moved to Hawaii, where we lived for 1 year. Well, what I can tell you about life in Ukraine versus in the United States. So basically, when you live in Ukraine, I'm not talking about living in Ukraine in the middle of war. This is a totally different thing, of course. But if we're talking about Ukraine before war, before coronavirus, before this kind of stuff. So back then, I felt myself super free because we moved from the big city to the village. We bought a house with land. I'm not sure, it's 0.3 hectares. I'm not sure how much. Let me go Google it. Hey Siri. She doesn't respond. How much is 0.3 hectares in acres? So it's actually 0.74 acres, and that's the amount of land we have in Ukraine. And we have a house. The house was built in 1967 or something around that, but it's not too big. It has 2 bedrooms, big bedrooms, and one really a small one. It's basically it's for a child, just a bed inside, and that's it. But it's 3 bedrooms. Well, and it has heating from the gas. We have gas coming into our house, and we have a lot of land. We have a garden. We have trees, dozens of trees, cherries, apples, pears, apricots. We have grapes. We're self-sufficient. We have walnuts, and it's a huge garden. The trees are literally, some of them are from 60s or 70s, so they are already 50 years old. Huge trees, and it's an amazing place. And we lived there for 2.5 years, but then we had to leave because it just was too dangerous. My wife was pregnant, and we wanted to be in a safe place, to have a baby, not under bombings, because she had to go to the hospital at some point because they were afraid she's going to have a miscarriage. And she was only 12 weeks or something. And they actually had to go in the basement 5 times during the day because they had these alarms. And, you never know, it might be just they do have these alarms, and people don't really pay attention, most of Ukrainians right now, because they have them all the time. But back then, at the very beginning of war, everyone was really scared, and we didn't know what to expect, and especially in the institutions like hospitals, because potentially they can be military targets for Russia. So that's why people really didn't know, and they were forced to go downstairs into the basement. The basement was completely not equipped for that. So the building of this hospital was built probably also 50, 70 years ago, and they didn't even have a bathroom in the basement. So you go to the basement and you stay there potentially for 1 hour, 2 hours, and if you need to use the bathroom, you go upstairs again. And you're a pregnant woman, who has to be treated and who needs to be calm and to not to be nervous. So that was really crazy. And then I said, no, we need to leave this country because it's a completely, miserable life, and I knew the war is going to be for a long time, because when the war started in 2014 with the Crimea invasion, I also believed some of the experts who were saying, oh no, it's not gonna be for a long time. Well, I listened to them, but then in 2022, I didn't believe a word. I knew that it's gonna be for many years, like Afghanistan, I don't know, like Syria. Well, I hope it's gonna, finish. You can't believe how much I wanted to finish like yesterday, but I mean today. I'll be really super happy, but I'm just saying that, that I had this feeling, and I didn't want my kids to be grown in this kind of surrounding, when we have to hide like rats from the missiles, from the alarms, from now it's also from the people who are trying to recruit people, like they're catching, literally hunting on men on the streets, because we don't have enough army men, we don't have enough meat for the war, and they just, because police doesn't want to go, because the deputies, the president's kids and his family, and their other privileged elites, they don't want to go, so they want us to go. I said no, I'm not going there, so I left Ukraine. I'm not talking today how I did it, it's a separate story, but trust me, it's it was hard, and it's it's like a Hollywood movie, like a thriller actually. So I'm not joking. But what I wanted to say, like, why after that, when we found ourselves in America, the land of opportunities, the American dream, this kind of stuff, and we lived there for 2 years, and I'm really thankful to the American people, because we met so many great people, very helpful. We've been in the United States before. We had a tourist visa. We visited the US in 2018. I visited America in 2003 and 2004. I studied as an exchange student in Hawaii, in Kapolei High School for a year. I lived in a family. I really love the people. I respect them. I'm super grateful and thankful, and I can't say how much I appreciate all that they've done in my life for me, and that literally changed my life and my understanding of the world, because now I see the world from perspectives of people from different cultures. And what I want to say, like, why we decided to move to Brazil from America, because so two major things that made us move are expensiveness. It's really expensive to live in the United States right now, and unless you can work, two adults can work, and in this case you can't have like a big family, like 3 kids, 4 kids. It's really unavailable option for you. If you're okay to have one child, and your baby goes to the kindergarten very early, and that is fine, and then you play in this rat race game. You take a loan for the house, you take you make payments for your cars, and so on and so forth. So if you are this kind of person, you need to arrive to America early, like when you are in your 20s. When you're almost 40 years old, like me, it's kind of not very good strategy for you, because if you arrive there and you don't have so many years to pay for everything, you don't have so many years to work, and if you also want to have a bigger family, it's making this game extremely hard. Second thing is, of course, the problem with documents. Even though Ukrainians came to America because of war, so it's not like we are just, sort of, okay, let's go to America, American dream, hello, nice, cool. No, so it was really a decision that we had to take. It was hard. It was hard to abandon everything, to leave everything behind. And for many people, it's also learning a new language. You will not have your friends. You were not prepared to this, and it's also the situation when, in most cases, you have no place to return. So it's not like immigrants who come from Ukraine, let's say 20 years ago, who came from Ukraine, and in many cases they still have relatives. They can go back to their city somewhere in Crimea or Donetsk. Now there is no place to go because many people simply lost their houses, lost their relatives, and even if they go back to on the Ukrainian government controlled territory, they don't know anyone there, like, and things have changed so much. And in some cases people don't really appreciate you because maybe you speak Russian language. This is also a big issue right now in the society because some politics are playing their games on this subject because half of the Ukrainians speak Russian, half of them speak Ukrainian, and so yes, there is a tendency that more and more people speak Ukrainian now because for some of them it's already they have allergy, like on Russian related stuff for obvious reasons, plus because of propaganda that we have on TV in Ukraine, that you have to do Ukrainian, to speak Ukrainian, to do everything Ukrainian, to think in Ukrainian. So like it's sometimes they just exaggerate, and like Putin had invented the Russian language, like he didn't. The Russian language existed a long time ago. He was born, and after he will die, it's gonna stay here. So it's just the language. It's just the instrument of communication, and we can use it as a tool to fight against propaganda as well. Just like I speak English, I speak Russian, I speak Ukrainian, I speak Spanish, I speak Portuguese. This is good for me, right? It's the opportunities I have in my life. It's people I can meet. If there is a fight, I can be a medium. I can help to solve the issue, right? Because I can find the common language, the same words, and to communicate my message or someone else's message. Yeah, this is a big topic as well. But I'm just saying that for some people there is just no place to go in Ukraine, and America is not giving them opportunity to stay there. So they are saying, okay, if you came after August 16th, 2024, then you cannot extend your United for Ukraine program, the humanitarian parole it's called. Why? What happened on August 16th, 2024? Nothing, literally nothing. But people who came before that date, they are more privileged than those who came after that date. And at some point, in 2024, they just stopped accepting new people into the country under United for Ukraine program, and now they put it on hold, and so the program doesn't work at all. So new people cannot arrive from Ukraine, and those who arrived earlier, many of them are not able to get temporary protection status. Many of them are not able to extend their visa and work authorization, so they simply left without documents, and they either have to go back to Ukraine, because especially for men whose passports have expired, the only place they can go is actually Ukraine, because the Ukrainian government doesn't give passports to the Ukrainian men abroad. Very simple. They want them back in Ukraine, to take them, to this bloody place where people just kill each other. Very sad. And it's hypocrisy, because the big politics are shaking hands. They're speaking about wearing suits. They say so many words, like they say this, they say that, and little people, they are literally left alone with their problems. And even if they managed to escape to America, the land of freedom, where they thought they would receive protection, some sort of protection from war, and many of them are forced to go back to Ukraine right now, or they have to choose just better places where they are treated better. Hopefully they still have their passports. And for me, obviously, I decided to make this first step. I didn't want to wait when my passport is about to expire. I didn't want to wait when some of the politicians will make a decision to throw me away from the country, or just to cancel my visas and documents and work authorization. No, I decided enough of this. I have to be responsible for myself. I just found another country where I'm going to be treated better, and this is Brazil. Brazil gives to every Ukrainian the opportunity to arrive under humanitarian visa and get a 2-year temporary residency, which can be extended to 9-year permanent residency, and within 9-year permanent residency, if you live for 4 years in Brazil, you can apply for naturalization. Also, if you have a new baby in Brazil, or if you marry the Brazilian, then you can actually, this is not only for Ukrainians, that's for everyone. You can actually have a fast lane for naturalization. In 1 year after baby delivery, you can apply for naturalization and get a Brazilian passport, and after that you are free to go to any other country if you want, or live in Brazil forever, or whatever you prefer. So that's why we decided to go to Brazil. Just one thing that I forgot to say about life in Ukraine. So the house that I bought with all of this land costs $5,000. $5,000 is all you have to pay for this land. It's in the village, it's a rural area, it's a remote area, but it's 3-hour ride from Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. So it's not like in the middle of nowhere. It's not like a desert. It's a very good nature around you. You have national parks nearby. You have a river. You have forests with mushrooms, with different animals living there. It's a nice place. And like in Ukraine, basically, it's really hard to buy a house for people who live there, of course, especially because most of people want to live in the cities now, especially younger generations, and they want to buy, like in Kiev, if they want to buy a good apartment in a nice place, it might be $100,000. Like if it's in cheaper place, in cheaper city, maybe it's $20,000 or $30,000. But it's a lot of money for Ukraine, because you don't make 3 or 4 or 5 grand a month. All you make is like $500, $700 per month, and basically you also have to pay bills, and like this money. Of course, life is cheaper there, but you spend this money very easily, and you cannot really accumulate so much money. But because I speak English, and I've been working online a lot, I've been a freelancer, I was a freelance writer, I was a translator, I was an interpreter, I was doing a lot of projects, I was making money, writing books on Amazon, selling my books on Amazon. I was into different things, and because of that, like with my experience, I knew that I never wanted to make all of the money in the world. It was never my target to do it. I've always wanted to enjoy my life with my family, and I didn't want like any governments in my life, any visas, any this kind of stuff. Like if I wanted to go to travel to have an extended trip and visit some places, like I spent half a year in Thailand, or I spent 5 months in Mexico, I just did it. I had a strategy, I had a plan, I knew how much money I need for that, I knew what I was going to do, like while living there, and how I would be making money. So and when I had this house, finally my own house, and I lived in my place, and then the war starts and I have to run away, and I just abandon everything, and I go and I have nothing, like I have few $1,000, and that's it. So just maybe 3 or 4, I don't know, and I go like to the other part of the world where this amount of money is not even sufficient to live for a month. Yes, I was lucky to have very good friends who met me, who helped us, and yeah, so like we managed to buy a very old car, and then I started to work. I worked a lot of hours, and then like basically I was able to move to Hawaii, where I also have friends. They also helped me to rent an apartment, like with a discount and so on. But what I want to say, like when I see the situation, like people who live in America and they don't have a chance to compare their life with the life of people who lived in Ukraine before war, or with people who lived in Thailand, or let's say in Mexico, in the other countries, and what they see, it's the only reality they see, and they think it's normal. It's not normal when you cannot spend time with your kids, when they, the kids are born in America and moms have to go to work in 6 weeks or something. Dads have to go to work, so they don't see their kids growing. So you don't have time to spend with your child. So your kids basically spend time with the strangers. Yes, they may be very nice and they may be trained very well, to work with kids, but it's still not the same thing as mom and dad. Mom and dad cannot be replaced, and also no one is going to return us these days when our kids are really little. So my older daughter is 11 now, and I still remember she was so small, like I could hold her like this with one hand, and they really grow fast, and this is our only life so far as I know. And I really don't want to waste it on getting a house, from a bank, and to be in this rat race for another 35 years. I'm almost 40 now, so when I'm going to pay off my house? When I'm 75 or what? So no way. I'm not playing these games. Of course no. And I don't need the last iPhone. I don't need some fancy clothes or Tesla or whatever. So I can live simpler life like I did in Ukraine. But I just have to enjoy this life. I have to spend it with my family, and as much as I can enjoy it with my kids and see them growing up, and just help them to make first steps and see their success and growing. I think this is really important. That's why we moved to Brazil. Yeah, very simple. Because Brazil is like Ukraine before war. It's very cheap here. You pay 2 times less for food, 4 times less for accommodations. We pay for our 2-story townhouse just $500 per month. Yeah, so we rent here. The car I have, the van, Volkswagen Kombi, it's an old van, but it's $5,000. I can also sell it for the same price. Yeah, cars are a little bit more expensive here than in America, of course, but yeah, it's not a big deal for me. So the good thing is you have free medical system. You have free school system. It's not very good, but it's okay for now. So if you want a private school, it's like $200 or $300 per month. Like I said, very high quality of food. It's not only cheap, but it's also very good fruits all year round, great climate, great people. People actually love to see you moving into this country. They really appreciate you. They don't say, why did you come here? They don't look at you weird. And even though they see that you came basically to get the residence by giving birth in this country, and eventually you can get naturalized, they appreciate you making first steps, learning their language. We are learning Portuguese from scratch. It's hard, but we are having good progress. I already passed my elementary Portuguese exam, and this is already sufficient to apply for naturalization in 1 year after my baby was born here in Brazil. 3rd baby. We had home delivery, and it was another amazing experience I could talk about, but there are so many things I can talk about. You won't believe it. So basically, what I gonna say, this is so much better than America, and in terms of my life, my experience, because I live simpler life. It's cheaper. I don't have to work as much as I had to work in America to support my family, because I wanted my wife to spend time with kids. I wanted to expand my family to have 3 kids, it's just easier to live here. It's also super safe. It's a wonderfully safe town where we live in Parachi, in the state of Rio de Janeiro. It's not like a big city, like we don't live in a favela or something. It's super safe. Nothing is happening literally in this town. It's 45,000 people. Everyone is friendly, everyone is smiley. People do their stuff. They have a lot of jobs here. It's a touristic place, so we live 5 kilometers or like 2.5 miles away from the ocean. There are so many things to do here, and they have a bike lane through the whole city, through the whole town, and you can go by bike pretty much everywhere. We do have a van because we have 3 kids, and to go shopping it takes a lot of effort to bring coconuts on the bike. We love coconuts. And by the way, coconuts in Hawaii are $6 each. Here they're 50 cents each. I'm talking about green coconuts. Well, the hairy ones are also very expensive in America, especially in Hawaii. Hawaii is very expensive, of course, but it's a paradise. Yeah. But I mean, so I don't regret about anything, but I just want to say that if you're thinking about moving to the other country, at least for short term, just to explore the opportunities, to see how people live outside the box you've been living for so many years, I really advise you to try that. It doesn't have to be Brazil. It doesn't have to be a specific place. There are so many great places for expats or for digital nomads. If you have a remote job, if you can find a remote job, or if you can accumulate enough money to go somewhere and to spend like 2, 3, 4 months abroad, live, you can choose Southeast Asia, like Bali, like Indonesia, other places in Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines. What else? In South America, Paraguay, Uruguay, Ecuador, so many places, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Mexico in North America. So there are really a lot of places, and you could try that. And there are so much information right now. I trust me, it's gonna just expand your horizons. It's not gonna do any bad for you if you're not a type of a person who would enjoy this kind of experience and life. You just return to your old life and that's it. But in the majority of cases, people who I meet here, and I meet Americans and Canadians here, and people from all the other backgrounds, and I see that traveling and living, and traveling at the same time, during the extended trips to the other countries, it changes the perception of people. It changes the way people behave, think, and it just makes them happier, and the life is more complete, because you live like an extra life when you are a foreigner living abroad, like we are Ukrainians who lived in Thailand, who lived in Mexico, who lived in the United States, who lived in France, and who lived in Brazil. And this every period of our life is like a completely new, big storybook of emotions and experiences, so many friends everywhere, and really nice memories for us, for our kids, and amazing life experience. I hope you really enjoyed the story I told you, and there are so many more things I could tell you, but I think that's enough for tonight. And I really appreciate you watching this channel, and like and hit the subscribe button, and I hope to see you again on this channel. Thank you. Bye.